The World Health Organization estimates that each year approximately 1 million people take their own life. That's one death every 40 seconds. Experts predicted numbers would peak in 2020, but no one could have imagined the devastation brought on by COVID-19. During the coronavirus pandemic, you may experience anxiety, sadness, and loneliness. Existing mental health conditions, including severe anxiety and major depression, may worsen. If you're feeling hopeless, contemplating self-harm, or you're concerned about someone else, I'm here to tell you there is hope. A Mission for Michael is dedicated to helping clients achieve complete inner and outer transformation. Mission for Michael is the premier resource for intensive mental health treatment in Southern California. With an astonishing 2-to-1 client-to-staff ratio, each client in their facility receives individual care 24 hours a day, overseen by a team of all doctorate or master's level clinicians. With a focus on evidence-based treatment, along with personalized and compassionate care, they offer mental health treatment that can change lives. If you're suffering from mental illness or you're concerned about a loved one, go to amfmtreatment.com. Again, that's a mission for Michael, amfmtreatment.com, or call 866-581-4401. Again, that is 866-581-4401.
Hey everyone. Can you announce yourself?
Oh, I have to announce myself. So it's a dose of Drew. Thank you guys for joining me. We see you here on the Restream. Thank you. Hang on a second. My son just called me just as I'm starting this out. So give me a second so I don't obsess about it.
Oh, that's a great opening.
I know. Sorry about that. Okay. Alrighty, thank you guys. Now, did any of you wonder what the COVID Isle sort of reference is? COVID Island. I don't know if you saw that tweet go out. Is it also on some other homepage of some type where they can see it, Susan? So Susan looked out the window here, and I wanted to go walk this way, and she goes, I'm not going to COVID Island. I'm not going to COVID Island. I go, oh, that's perfect. And it actually looks more like COVID Island. It looks more crowded from where we sit than what that picture looked like. It looks like densely packed people. So just saying, everybody, it's, be careful. I'm hoping those people are all from the same household. Maybe it's wishful thinking. All right, so what I want to do today is get into it a bit. Richard, I don't know what you mean by just like Adam says. I want to get into it a bit with you guys and see what your thoughts are here. I got lots of things I'm kind of thinking about. Lauren, good for you. Lauren had her first injection on the phase 3 Moderna trial. Any reaction, Lauren? Lauren Taylor Hill? I've signed up for that and I didn't get it. But good for you. You'll be free to walk around the cabin pretty soon because my prediction is they will open up the placebo limb of your study and you'll know whether you really got the vaccine or not. And you could be immune at that point. It'll be very interesting. Lots of this with Labor Day, Bunny. I don't know quite what that means. You're having Kelly Jean with depression and anxiety. I mean, you're not alone. Let me tell you what, that is the one major issue that people have ignored as a consequence of this outbreak. So Anthony Brown, I see you there. You are going to get a call from a guy named Paul Webster, and he is organizing a group of people who have recovered from the streets. So you can be a small army of people that can go out there and talk about the truth of homelessness. He's a very passionate dude. So Anthony Brown, look out for that guy. I hope you don't mind, I gave him all your contact information. That's coming from me, and I think this is going to be a good little organization that we're going to pull together. That's the first of many things I'm going to have you do, by the way, my friend. So just stand by. Low fever for 6 days, Lauren says, after the Moderna vaccine. That's very interesting. Well, I think we could, unless they gave you some other antigen, I think we can say probably, I don't know what they're using for the placebo, but I think we can say pretty certainly you probably got the virus. I mean, my goodness. Customary customization. I did help your buddy Steve-O, but he's my buddy Steve-O too. Richard, you want me to look at my phone? I don't know what you want me to do about that. Anthony, good. Yes, you heard me. Excellent. Just stand by. He'll probably call you right after the holiday or email you or whatever, or check your email now. All right. Child abuse cases at our local hospital are going way up. Yes, that is happening as well. That The children who usually get picked up by the school system are now locked in with their perpetrators, and we're seeing more difficulty, more trouble as a result. Okay, hold on a second. Okay,
Why is it
because it's firing off it's going off like a Christmas tree. All right, I'm
different?
up.
That's your son.
I know it is. I didn't know that, but now I do. Okay. Yeah, JD, I'm looking out at the beach too, and it's pretty packed here as well. But the crazy thing, it's literally 90 degrees by by the water. It's very strange in Southern California right now. Aviptadil. I don't have any update on that. Trump supporter was urinated on. Okay. Is there any way I can get a flu shot while avoiding some of the side effects the next day? George, we've had the flu shots. I got them last week. I got to tell you, give my whole family, give everybody in our household, and nobody had any reaction. And that doesn't mean you won't have a reaction. I had a little neck ache and headache at about like late evening, but nothing the next day other than a kind of sore arm. Mandy, what would you like to know about neurobiology and addiction? There's a lot of stuff out there all the time. Those are fields that are exploding. If you're kind of interested in that kind of stuff, Indre Viscontis runs a good podcast on some of those things. Emily, schools have been back, concerts, hiring, fairs. Okay. Again, there's I retweeted a thread from a guy that talked to a bunch of scientists, and there is very little concern about kids transmitting to adults. It's not that it's not going to happen, but there's very little concern. What I was saying, I was tweeting about. I'm looking at Joseph Giannotti. He said, "What's my opinion on the latest IMHE model, which is the University of Washington?" I have switched over to a COVID tracking project and to something that Andy Ashkazvili turned us all on to, COVID-19-projections.com. COVID-19-projections.com. And if you go to that website, they have projections and they evaluate everybody's projections relative to one another. And you can see that these guys, COVID-19-projections.com and essentially MIT, do better than everybody. What's the opinion? Yeah, so there's that. They're cutting power. Coronavirus outbreak map. Grammy says, I need a flu shot. My doctor's not giving them yet. They're out there. You can go to any pharmacy and get them right now. So you should get your flu shot right away. If you're over 65, you have a decision to make about whether you should take the high-dose flu shot or not. We're not getting clear direction, it seems to me, from the CDC on this. If you have certainly over 70, and if you have 65 with illnesses, yes, you should take the higher dose vaccine, it seems to me. Have I seen any plague activity in the homeless encampments? What we have is a minor plague outbreak in Northern California. It's come west. It's here in California now. They have it in the rodent fleas, in a campground in South Lake Tahoe. So they've tried to quarantine the whole thing. That will not work. That won't do anything. This is a natural ecology of when you allow rat populations to develop in the setting of excess trash and excrement, and that is what is going on in San Francisco and Los Angeles. So we have now a typhus outbreak. In fact, I'm telling you, I've seen a number of cases of these so-called Kawasaki syndrome, which is the adolescents and kids get this post-inflammatory disease. Most of what I've seen looks like typhus. And they're not being tested for typhus, and they should be, because the rash on the hands particularly looks highly characteristic of typhus. And so I'm concerned there's a lot of typhus in Southern California. Then some of this Kawasaki so-called is actually typhus. It's not my point, though. My point is that because there's typhus here, I've spoken to many epidemiologists, infectious disease people, and they all tell me the same thing, that when you don't do anything to curtail the vectors, the rats and the fleas, that if you allow rickettsial disease and other infectious diseases to go out of control, this is an endemic region for Yersinia, and Yersinia is the organism that causes bubonic plague. So it's inevitable. It's just ecology. It's the biology of systems. It's how it works. The bacteria is trying to survive, and it's doing everything it can, and it's going to it finds a very fertile soil here. It's like, think about how you're trying to control anybody. I mean, I hope you've seen it with this COVID thing. It's very similar to COVID. It gets where it needs. It gets through. It gets through. Although with this is respiratory disease. With vector disease, it's a little more. It can be more insidious in terms of it making its way into a population. And of course, if it hits the homeless, which is where all the rats are, it's going to be devastation. It's going to be devastation. It's going to be really, really bad. What's that?
Hopefully the rats are dying of COVID-19 too.
The rats are not dying of COVID-19. The rats are at all-time highs. So please control your rodents in your household and make sure your pets are anti-fleed. Very, very, very important. Okay, so let me see. Random question. Does methamphetamine raise sodium levels? Gibson, by dehydrating people, it can. So people on meth aren't into fluids. And so I've seen a little bit of a sodium spike from people on meth. Luis says it's 120 where he is.
Wow.
When I was 17, 18-year-olds, yes, Justin, the plague is back. The last plague outbreak was in Los Angeles in the 1920s. And it was the last time we had a rodent bloom here like this. And a very aggressive immediate anti-rodent action was taken. And it was a group of physicians that controlled it. Essentially, one guy got it, downtown Los Angeles, amongst the rats. And everybody he contacted had it and died within 3 days. So it's something that can really get going. It can really go. Now, we have treatments for it, but we have, you have to identify it. You have to know it's there.
Right.
Carrie, I think you're there. Where are you? You asked if we really need to. There you are. Do we need to wear masks? Yeah, that's why things are getting better. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's a respiratory transmitted disease. It's nose mouth to nose and mouth. People are even speculating now that it kind of goes down. If you're taller, you're more likely to transmit it to someone. You need about 15 minutes of contact on average, and that's it. You know, and there are some people that may be genetically set up so they don't get it so much or at all even, but children, we know, for instance, don't have the binding site for the virus, so they don't get it, but they can carry it. So there you go. Yes, Patty, the plague has always been around, but Patty, it's been around in feral cats and possums, and mostly sort of east, like Wyoming, New Mexico, Arizona, and it's been making its way north and west for a while, and here it comes. And what I keep saying is, it's not going to stop. It keeps coming, and then we have a place for it to just explode here in Southern California, and it will, unless we take care of the problem that will be where the outbreak occurs. It's just how these things are. I mean, I saw this coming 2 years ago, and it's probably going to be another 6 to 12 months before it really goes, but then it will. Nicole, you be very specific with me. What are you talking about? A few months ago, I was saying, listen to Fauci, don't listen to the press. They are trying to get you into a panic, and it's the same thing today. Same thing today. Is it true leading COVID-19 vaccines will change your DNA? Well, Dave, there are RNA and DNA vaccines that will. That's what a virus does. A virus inserts itself into into your DNA, or at least uses your DNA to reproduce itself. And this is using a vaccine to do the same thing, to create antibodies, essentially. Where is this rodent flu, Ramy? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. You're talking about the plague? Yes, the plague is treatable, but if somebody comes in with high fever and pneumonia, plague is not something people are going to be thinking about. That's the problem, and it has a very different treatment than all the other.
I think it's COVID.
Well, right, they might think COVID, or they'll be putting on broad spectrum antibiotics, which does not cover plague. Plague is a tetracycline covered disease, and in the meantime, it'll just infect lots of people, and people die fast from it. So, and if you get it too late, it's like COVID; it's too late. Gibson, you want to see YMH Live? I'm really looking forward to that. The ads have been hysterical. I don't know if you know, Susan, I'm going to be on YMH Live coming up. That probably means you will be too. Right.
I will
I'm just betting. If I were a betting man, I'd say they'd reach out to you.
promote one of the shows.
How long do I think after the vaccine for our lives to go back to normal? It could be 3 or 4 months. Marcy, 15 minutes of contact on average of unrestricted close proximity contact. But a lot of people have contact for days and days and don't get it. I don't see. Hold on here. Oh well, shoot.
Can I play a dark video? Put your earbud in so you can
We have an After Dark video. Okay, let's play that so you guys can
Just
see.
talking about
You
your
can
mom's
understand
house.
what that show is over at your mom's house. If you guys have never seen it, this is what we do.
He's a cool guy, though. He got
And
no
He's a
teeth.
cool guy. He's got no teeth,
No
and
teeth.
he's got that eye thing where one eye goes this way, one eye goes that
You
way.
know, that
What is that?
That is something. I think that is the universal sign of the TikTok, right? Because the cool guys, right? The cool guys
Yeah.
with the no teeth, they're all over the place. They're
Yeah.
just not on TikTok. But the drifting eye, that is unique to
It's
the talk.
special. You're right.
So there you go. There is After Dark for you. A little taste of that if you're interested. Get that at drdrew.com. 410,000, Todd. Yeah. The IMHE models on death just sort of fly off into the future. They adjust them down all the time. So don't believe all that. Toby, you're asking about hydroxychloroquine as a prophylactic agent. I don't think it's going to be a good prophylactic agent. I'm not sure. But what I find weird is, can we please get the studies of early COVID with zinc, please? Because for some reason we just don't seem to be able to get that study. It was always designed for early disease, always designed to be used with zinc. I don't know. Cara, what did your dad have surgery for? I'm sorry, I may have missed it. Thank you, Tim. Used to listen to Adam and I. Adam and I do a podcast most days. You can find that at my website too. So Adam and I are still together most days. There was a study that came out today that showed that vitamin D deficiency, something that Scott Adams has been talking a lot about, might be very significant in contracting this thing and having complications of it. So please take your vitamin D. Leanna, thank you for pointing out that Susan was amazing on Where My Mom's At. She's laughing. Your dad had surgery, Cara, it's called amblyopia. It's one of the causes, and there is a surgical correction for it, particularly if you get it earlier. Philippa, plague person to person. I believe it is respiratory spread. I believe, because it is apparently highly contagious. Jane liked you on Fox. No, Josh liked you on Fox 11. So you can see
Somebody
Susan.
saw me.
I know.
Just one person.
Yeah, that's vitamin D3, Angela. I mean, you can talk to your doctor. Sometimes there are. The fool's eye mine today is 5,000 units enough vitamin D per day. That's what I take. I take 5,000 units a day. But you should have your vitamin D level checked. And some people need to take a prescription strength once a week or so. Obviously, sun is helpful too. Kelly Jean, my poor kids are at home. They're getting used to it. I'm a retired nurse. Husband no COVID at his nursing home since day one. We are lucky. Yeah, but hold on a second. Kelly Jean, is that who I was talking to? Yeah, Kelly Jean. We don't fully know yet the impact this is going to have on kids. I mean, I could see this having massive impact, particularly on 8 to 15, 17-year-old. We had dinner with some friends last night. Whose daughter was having a lot of panic and OCD around this, and I've heard that over and over and over again. So we really don't know how this is going to affect the development of an entire generation, quite literally. Home treatments for spidey angioma, no. Kimberly, 2,000 units per your blood work, great. But Christopher, you take the vitamin D2, 50,000 a week. Yeah, that's usually plenty. I mean, you obviously had low vitamin D, that's why your doctor put you on that. That's a prescription strength. The actually really sad lesser form of institutionalization. What is, Luis? Is keeping people at home, kids at home particularly. Okay, Mommy Tarsh. My in-laws are driving from Texas to Maine. That's a long drive. To see a baby in October. I'm worried about the virus, but I understand my wife. Mommy Tarsh. They're driving to Maine. I mean, if they wear their mask, there's no big deal. I was trying to think of the study I just saw from. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. Leopold sent me a study
and Leopold and I have been going back and forth about work environments and how to keep them safe, but he had a study that showed in a airplane, 290 people, 6 people tested positive going onto the plane. 1 person contracted it in a bathroom because she walked in immediately after the person with COVID and took her mask off. So if you keep your mask on, it really doesn't transmit very well. Andrew, sorry, Andrew Ashkazvili did not get the notification. Did we send out a notification today?
No.
We didn't send it out, Andrew. That's why. I don't.
We're at the beach.
We're at our remote location, so we don't get all the fancy stuff. But Andrew, I was just saying, somebody was asking, what about the IMHE projections of 400,000 dead in October or something, and I was saying just go to the COVID-19 projections website. They do a much better job of evaluating all the evaluators and letting you see how accurate everyone's been and giving you some good data. Andrew, I wanted, do you have any new data on leronlimab? Anything going on? Avaptabil, if that's around, if that's changed at all, let us know. And Andrew says IHME is dead to me. So it's way late. It's not that accurate. It's just that's the University of Washington that we relied on so heavily earlier in the epidemic, and there's just better stuff out there now. Yeah. Can you take extra vitamin D with a regular vitamin? Yes, Lissa. The vitamin D in a multivitamin is usually way low, way low. So do take, all of you, vitamin C, vitamin D. Think about zinc. Think about quercetin, Qurceitin. Not enough data for me to recommend it yet, but I take it. Ivermectin. What do we? No. Andrew, tell me here if you believe any of that ivermectin stuff. I don't buy it. It to me seems weirdly anecdotal.
Explain it.
It's a treatment for worms, essentially, and somebody's saying it has effect on progression of COVID. Doesn't fit for me. I don't know. Site and I are going to meet with Europe about leronlimab. Maybe get approval in Europe before the USA. That's interesting. What's taking them so long? Yeah, Lori, I'm aware of the ivermectin stuff. I looked at the data. I just was not super impressed by it. University of Arkansas has 1,000 cases. Okay, here's something I want to say. So, Jason, University of Arkansas has over 1,000 cases in 1 week. We don't know how many cases. Nobody's reporting cases. They're calling presence of viral RNA cases. So we don't know if any of those 1,000 kids were sick or how sick. We just don't know. So I really have a problem these days. The reason I have a problem is here in California, they're going to force us to have a county case rate of 1 per 100,000. Not going to happen. That's never going to happen because this viral RNA is in the environment. We're going to be picking it up all over the place, and people who may not be able to transmit, may not be active, maybe a false positive even. So this whole business of just reporting viral RNA is getting out of control. We have to have some way of talking about cases per se. What do you want me to say here?
Somebody's suggesting.
Fauci's doing interviews like this. Surely he'll be willing to do one with Dr. Patterson, Dr. Yo, Dr. Mobeen discussing top therapeutics. It looks like he's talking to Matthew McConaughey.
I mean, what the hell?
I know. Well, if you want to try to get Dr. Fauci, when Dr. Yo is going to be on Thursday, so maybe we can get Fauci in there with Dr. Yo. That'd be a very interesting
He's
conversation.
on his press tour, I guess, now.
Well, they say he doesn't say no to anything, Susan.
Really?
Yeah.
You
So,
told me not to try.
well, that was before he went out on the road So again, I've lost track of you guys now. Cindy Lou, while I'm trying to read the chat, I can't keep up. I know, Cindy Lou, me too. I think the ivermectin comes from the COVID toe. No, come on. Sarah, you're having advice swallowing big pills. You can crush them. You can put them in applesauce. You can put them in, again, something thick. And you can usually break them in half or parts or find smaller pills and just take multiple of those pills. Yeah, I would like to see Fauci. I would like to see Fauci on with Yo. I think that'd be very interesting. No, Tim, don't rely on tonic or quinine. No. That's one of the things that Dustin. Severe vitamin D deficiency, hand cramping, foot cramping can be a lot of things. But vitamin D, not in my experience. Is it?
Yo's coming out Thursday.
Yes, Dr. Yohindra, if you remember him, we talked to him about leronlimab and all. He will be up
Explain
on
what we're gonna
Thursday.
talk about.
Haven't planned it yet.
I know.
I saw what his wishes were. I haven't planned it yet.
Oh, okay. It's gonna
Alkaline
be-
water healthy?
He's
Don't waste
bringing
your
two
time.
people who have survived COVID.
Right,
and
he
he's
is-
a little round
He is, okay, so if you watch Dr. Yohindra, he has interviewed two people that recovered from COVID, and he has the first case of leronlimab administered at UCLA. I was on that thread with him, and this woman was literally dying and made it out and now is perfectly healthy. She's not a long hauler. The one thing I would like to talk to him about, though, is long haulers and potential treatments for that, but we haven't really planned that yet, so. Potassium, Luis, magnesium, yes, those are also associated with cramping, but look, if you're old and you have cramp in your hands and feet, use that TheraWork stuff that I advertise. It's actually really good, provided you've had a complete workup. It can be anything from hypothyroidism, it can be fluid abnormalities and kidney problems. It can be a lot of things. It could be even carpal tunnel can set you up for hand cramps like that. So, you gotta get them tested and find out what's going on. Dr. Patterson, test kits are going out on Tuesday, apparently. That's great, Andrew tells us. Okay, Anthony, how far down the scale do you think the mentally ill and or homeless once the vaccine comes? That is a great question, Anthony. I'm going to bet, because as you know, we can't touch the homeless people, and they're on drugs, agitated, irritable, and unwilling to, but scared maybe, so some of them might be willing to take it. But I'm gonna bet it's gonna be strictly people who are already in some kind of care or some kind of contact with care systems, and those people will get the vaccine. And I think what you're gonna see is healthcare providers, then the elderly, particularly risk elderly, nursing home, things like that, other risk factor groups, older, chronic illness, and then that will be when the homeless start getting so I'd say third tier. But there's so many different vaccines coming. There's no telling how they're going to roll some of that out. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of fanfare around the elections, in terms of making a big political statement about it. I don't know which one that will be at that time, and I don't know. I've heard rumors that the Army may be used in rolling this thing out. We'll see. Tom Cigar, yeah, I saw that about wearing a mask during sex. That seems bizarre to me. Is it safe to see the dentist? Yes, they're going to great lengths to keep things safe. Look, everyone, when they wear masks, they wear shields, and properly distanced. You can get your haircut, you can get your nails done, you can get your teeth worked on. It doesn't. These things don't transmit in those environments very well at all. Brown Hulk, I do think we will return to normal at some point. DST, yeah, there's been talk about a protective element of nicotine. I don't think that's real. And there was, if I remember right, there was an overrepresentation of smokers in China. And that just may be because they have so many smokers. So Ashley Fauci is still my North Star. He is still my North Star. He has not said anything wrong. You can be as critical as you want, but he has been extremely cautious with all of the things he's said. Josh, it's 25 milligram elemental zinc is what you want to get your hands on. 25 milligrams elemental zinc in whatever form you choose to take it. Kristen, plague can be found in squirrels, but it's the fleas. It's the fleas, and if the fleas get on you or your dogs, then you got bigger problems. I'm getting on a plane. I have a mask and hand sanitizer. What else? I use UVC lights. I recommend that strongly. The UVC light really helps makes you feel like you're getting in and over everything. That is for Richie. I've flown quite a bit in the last couple months, and no COVID. Any thoughts on Brett Weinstein's unity movement? Tulsi Gabbard and Dan Crenshaw on the ballot. Tell me more. I am both. Particularly a fan of Tulsi Gabbard's, and I am a admirer of Dan Crenshaw. So whatever that is, boy, that's interesting. You're not sure what stars do? They give you a place to follow, a direction to go to stay safe and get home in one piece. I know Robert Fauci has been getting death threats and all kinds of service that he doesn't deserve. He does not deserve. When will we be able to Staples Center? I'm saying that's not going to be till next year, 2021 seasons of things. But we may get some ability to go to a football stadium since they're out of doors and often in the sun. Do I think everything should open up now? No, I don't think everything should open up, and I don't think things should be normal, but I think they should be moving that way more rapidly than the government, particularly in California, is allowing. California is more on top and more fascistic than any government I've seen in my lifetime. It's unreal, the overreach in California. When I go to other states, I'm shocked at how collaborative the government is, how punitive it is in California. Andrew, no way to get 400 deaths by the end of the year. Cases are going down, and now deaths are starting to as well. Yeah, everything would have to more than double to hit that 400,000. Yes, that's why IMHE is dead to you, which is a ridiculous prediction. And again, remind ourselves that the reason I knew that Oxford University prediction would not be the way that this thing would break out in the United States. I knew we would change our behavior, which is we're all changed our behavior, we're all changed everything, and I knew the medical system would improvise and come up with good ways of managing it. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. Is that Christopher? You're talking about the homeless there? I'm not quite sure. Okay. Eric says, unity movement is to draft, so-called, a center-left, center-right pair and have them run as a team. One is, okay, then switch after 4 years. Yeah, Eric, he has I've heard Brett Weinstein talk about doing things that are not in the Constitution. He doesn't get to just change the Constitution because he wants to. But I like the idea of a center-left, center-right candidacy. I think that's very interesting. What is the UVC light that I use? It is from the redhawkmedicaldevices.com. Redhawkmedicaldevices.com is the one I use. What about students returning to school? Teachers are scared. They could transmit to each other. Yes, Bob, they can't. They won't if they wear a mask. They won't if they wear masks. Much like the rest of us, they won't if they wear the masks. Do I feel like this is a blueprint for future plans? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Oh, Susan, you have the ability to put people on the phone?
I know, I have it on my phone.
So you could bring people up there? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, like it says they can come on, but I want to make sure, like Allison Ziegler is watching the
Okay.
kids, bring them on camera.
Okay.
She has to say she wants to.
Okay, Allison, you have to say you want to come on camera. Andrew, you can come on camera too, apparently. My Rager was great for my birthday. That's why we missed yesterday. Apologize. But we will show you a little bit of the Chad Goes Deep video at the end here today. The problem is hang on a second. Problem is most people don't wear masks or properly. Chelsea fan, I agree with you about, are you Chelsea? Which Chelsea are you a fan of, by the way? They wear it under their nose, and that drives me insane. I mean, don't bother wearing the mask if you're not going to wear it properly positioned. I heard of somebody that got kicked off a plane, though, because they were sitting there with it, and rather than saying reposition your mask, they were just kicked off a plane. Pretty crazy. How long do we feel we need to wear the mask? Well, Kathy, I'm hoping we adopt masks as sort of a thing in the wintertime generally to prevent respiratory disease. I think I'm not that we all should wear them, but if you're sick, you should wear them. How can someone stop internalizing what's going on living with depression? I don't know, Jamie. There's so much going on that is so overwhelming and so disturbing that I don't know how you don't get depressed, except to, stay focused on self-care, exercise adequately, get some sun, and keep looking on making how to make things meaningful in all this. Didn't New York Times say?
For the stars.
Oh, thank you for the stars. We appreciate that.
I don't know what it means, but.
Is rational decision making gone, Ivan? Ibn T. Rollin. I think rationality, well, particularly truth, is under attack. Truth is under attack, and I tweeted about that today, and it reminds me of. They're asking about the Red Hawk site. Is redhawkmedicaldevices.com?
Yes.
Yeah, Red Hawk. That's the official website. That this reminds me of the early 2000s when science was under attack. I remember just having a ridiculous onslaught about the HPV vaccine, about morning after pills. People refused to look at the reality of the science behind them, and science itself became looked at as just another way of doing things. Now, truth is just something concocted by old white men. And this reminds me a lot of that. It seems even more vigorous. Lisa, suicides have gone up markedly because of COVID, as have overdoses. And it's not COVID, it's the lockdown that's doing it. Let's be fair. Okay, Rich, on the death certificate, is an event like cardiac arrest considered a comorbidity? Yes. Unfortunately, the way the CDC is collecting, it is a lot to do with how we fill out death certificates in this country. We fill them out in foolish ways. There's no standards. There's no direction to physicians on exactly how we should be doing it. You can either say COVID and just leave it at that, or you can say COVID with pneumonia, ARDS, renal failure, cardiopulmonary arrest. It's the same thing, and yet those three other conditions go down as comorbidities. So it makes no sense. It's a mess.
Medical devices, it's medical.
Uh-oh, it's not medical device. It's Red Hawk Medical. Uh-oh. I can stop and look it up.
No, I'm looking.
Okay. I don't think you can get a fever from that, my friend. Science was way off with COVID. That's an interesting statement. Data was way off with COVID, I would say. And the politicization of interpretation of data, reporting of data, a usual discourse amongst clinicians and scientists was interfered with markedly, and press was out there pumping stuff that made no sense. Yes, that's how science, it was the bastardization of science that got in trouble. Your risk of severe illness is 4.5 higher than normal if you have one of the underlying, yeah. So Dustin, you don't die if you're not old and you don't have one of the two and a half of the underlying conditions at least. Is there a large H1N1 outbreak going on? Not that I'm aware of. I had H1N1 and it was horrible. I mean, horrible like you can't believe horrible. Okay. Broadcast on how, Eric, okay.
Products.
It's okay. So it's Red Hawk Medical Products. I'm sorry, redhawkmedicalproducts.com is the website to get that UVC light. Do a broadcast on how filling out of death certificates, how to listen to Fauci, how to understand scientific thinking, and how scientific thinking has been bastardized. I think people would get really bored if I did that all in one sitting. Kimberly, 400,000 by end of year. You saw Andrew Ashkazvili in here who rang in on that and said that is false. That is a piece of data that could not be achieved, and that we would refer you instead, Kimberly, to COVID-19-projections.com. That's where there's evaluations of things like the IMHE, which you're quoting here, and other projecting organizations and data collections that show accuracy of one versus the other. And you see the IMHE is way off, way off. Okay. What is my take on the recent death of anthropologist David Graeber, died of internal bleeding? Melissa, tell me more. I don't have an opinion because I didn't know what happened. And internal bleeding is just a very vague term. It can mean a lot of different things. You want to see a documentary, Natalie, about me working during the AIDS epidemic. Somebody wants to do something like that, so you may yet get to see something like that. I don't know what kind of footage you're going to get to see because there's no pictures from back then. COVID-19 2020. Why are they now telling asymptomatic people not to get tested? Yeah, it's getting confusing. Because I think I don't know the answer to that for real, but I suspect the answer is they want to differentiate between a case, meaning somebody's sick, getting a diagnostic test, and screening people that are potential carriers of the viral RNA. Different populations, different meaning. They're being lumped together right now. And because of it, because so many people are getting tested who are not sick, it's resulting in a complete shutdown of states like California, who are the decision makers seem not connected to reality for some reason. Is cytokine storm similar to anaphylaxis? It is not, but it ends up in the same place in the sense that anaphylaxis is associated with shock and renal failure and respiratory failure. Anaphylaxis is a very specific thing that cytokines are involved with for sure, but I don't know. I can't imagine that's something that we'll be seeing all this cytokine treatment having. Might have some utility there. It might. Okay. I'm looking at your guys' comments here. The 7% who dies from COVID with no comorbidity. Kristen, there will be deaths of people who die with no comorbidity. Unfortunately, the way this stuff is being reported, obesity is not being reported as a comorbidity oftentimes. And so it's hard to tell. But I'm sure there's some people that die. 7% seems like a big number to me. Most of those people who die with no comorbidities are very old. So if you are old, the age is by far the most serious risk factor for complications of this thing. You can have no comorbidities and be old and end up in a bad place, for sure. You can also be young and obese and end up in a bad place. But age is by far the worst risk factor for this illness. Dan, I don't have an opinion about plaque psoriasis, except to say there's a lot of immune modulating medication out there that you can get your hands on. You see it being advertised on TV all the time. Yes, it's wrong, Luis, to wish COVID on your ex. I wouldn't wish it on anybody per se. Can I explain kids and COVID? They can have the viral RNA is around, right? It's everywhere. And you can get on the surface of our respiratory tract and we can pick it up, even though it can't get into our body and cause disease. The question is, can it cause transmission? And I don't think we know the answer to that yet. Oh boy. Did we take my hydrolyte this morning after your rager? Oh yeah, yeah, B World. We needed hydrolyte this morning. We did, and sure, go ahead.
Anybody want to see a hydrolyte ad?
Sure, and it's so damn hot in Southern California right now. It's really crazy.
With so much focus on keeping ourselves and our loved ones safe and healthy, it's easy to forget that most of us are going to experience things like allergies, colds, possibly even the flu. So, reminding you, proper hydration is crucial for all of these things. Remember, even slight dehydration can make you feel like you're getting sick, and none of us need that anxiety right now, that's for sure. That's where Hydrolyte comes in. Longtime fans will remember my obsession with Hydrolyte, which is simply the best oral rehydration product I've tried. I'm even more excited to introduce their brand new single-serve powder sticks. Simply pour one powder stick into a glass of water. They recommend 7 ounces. The powder dissolves almost instantly, creating the perfect balance of sodium, glucose, and water. Delivers up to 4 times the electrolytes of your typical sports drink. The other great news about Hydrolyte's new powder sticks, they're 100% all natural. No artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. They're available in flavors like orange and lemonade, and they taste great. Hydration is crucial, and Hydrolyte is fastest and easiest way to stay ahead of it. Get your supply of Hydrolyte powder sticks now at hydrolyte.com/DRDREW. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDREW, and then use that code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout.
Good? Okay, so Isabel Wales is asking, what is old for COVID? So old, more risk is at over 65, but real risk is over 75. That's when the risk starts to dramatically go up, and then at 85 goes up even again. So we're talking about over 75 primarily. And I appreciate some criticism, and if you're going to criticize me, go all the way. And so Diabetes Hose says, Drew's a puppet of the government. Everyone knows COVID-19 isn't a real thing. So go to the mat. If you're going to criticize me, go somewhere extreme. I appreciate that. He's also saying no one cares about my bum ass scam. I don't know what bum ass scam he's talking about, but okay.
That's Twitch. I'm not gonna put it on Twitch anymore.
Okay. Multiple peptide Covax vaccine began human trials in Taiwan and Nebraska. Cheap, easy to produce, transport, far better than Moderna.
Your eyeballs.
What?
Somebody's making fun of your eyes.
In what sense?
They said they look, they just, I mean, you have problems with your eyes.
Okay. Rich, I'm aware of those sorts of vaccines out there. And I, if I have a choice, I'm going to take something like that. Something that is sort of already, been well established as a vaccine therapy. Leopold, Bill Gates says 80% should be vaccinated globally to have successful COVID. That seems like a lot to me. That seems like a lot. But I know there's some data. There's Professor Michael Levitt says that he thinks the actual, at least in current behavioral environment, maybe at 20 to 30% might be herd immunity. So it's hard to say. If 80% of the world got vaccinated, I think it'd be a great thing. I mean, that would really, because COVID vaccine is going to be with us, right? We're not going to eliminate it. It's not going to go away forever and never come back. It's going to be largely controlled, and we are going to be mostly immune to it because of our vaccine therapies. I'm reading your guys' notes here. Is it safe to go to the hospital for appointments? Yes. Do not avoid health care. Right now, one of the most serious problems we're seeing is people delaying healthcare treatment because they're afraid of COVID, and that's resulting in more problems than COVID itself. When you hear that hospitals are full, that's what they're full with. Not COVID, but people who've delayed treatment and now need hospitalization.
And they isolate COVID.
What's that?
They isolate the COVID.
Yeah, the COVIDs are nowhere near the rest of the... okay, here's a big note. Susan, you hate masks. I do too. I don't like them, but I'm kind of getting used to them. Are they going to put a tracker device in the vaccine? No. I've never had a vaccine. I get tested all the week for a pre-op. How old are you, Johanna? I mean, I'm sure you had vaccines as a kid, lots of them. What happened to bird flu? Again, that's it's still around. We have vaccines against it, though. Same thing. Well, I don't know if you're talking about SARS coronavirus 1 or you're talking about like the swine flu. We mostly either it went away, like SARS 1, SARS coronavirus 1, or we have vaccines against it. There are some people that believe the vaccine, rather the that's actually funny from Diabetes Hose, but we're not.
That guy's like 12 years old.
I'm sure.
Okay?
I'm sure. What was I talking about? He distracts me.
If you're not on Twitch, you won't know what it says.
Public health office in my county stated those with controlled diabetes are not at risk for adverse outcome. Yeah, Karen, a lot of the things that we thought were risk factors have been taken off, like asthma, other cancers. It really is very specific things. It's obesity here, it's hypertension, it's hypercholesterolemia, it's antiphospholipid syndrome, and it's age. That's it. And obesity. That's it. What happened to Zika? It's still around. It's around. That's, again, the press tried to scare you with that one. And it's still around. Maybe they'll pick up on that. See, I figured they'll pick up on Zika and plague and other things and really go nuts with it. Well, Ebola is still around, and then they got that under control through monumental, sort of major tasks. My past includes a brutal benzodiazepine withdrawal, and I'm also a recovering alcoholic, 50 years old. Does that put me at higher risk for dying of COVID? No, it does not, Kristen. I mean, you're higher risk than a 17-year-old or a 35-year-old, but not any special risk. And I'm sorry about that benzodiazepine withdrawal. I mean, if you've been following what happened to Jordan Peterson, he had a Klonopin withdrawal with an akathisia. It's just, benzo withdrawal for some people is horrific, and most doctors do not know how to treat it. I've been treating it for years, literally decades, and it's something that's pretty easy to get under control if you get it early. If it gets out of control, it can, literally, you can have the worst year of your life. It can be that bad. Some people kill themselves because of it. It's that bad. Benzodiazepines are serious stuff, serious business. Truth silencer, the go-to man will go. I don't know anything about that. Okay. Why don't they? Oh, come on now. Oh, you guys are going a little bit sideways on me here.
What happened?
with some of the paranoid ideas and any truth to type A being more vulnerable. That is absolutely true. Type O, a little less vulnerable. Type A is a little more vulnerable. There was a study in the New England Journal about, must be 2 months ago now, that showed 6 genetic groupings that were more associated with infection and trouble from the infection. And it turned out, though, they were also associated with type A blood in one of those genetic groupings. How much zinc should you take? 25 milligrams of elemental zinc. 25 milligrams. Christopher, yeah, right. If it says Pam at the end of but but be careful. There are other things now that masquerade as hypnotics. They should have Pam at the end, but they don't. Oh, Kristen. Oh, that's very nice. Kristen, I'm going to read this if you don't mind. Kristen was an inpatient at the drug treatment center where I worked. I'm not sure if you're on my unit or someone else's. During her protracted Xanax withdrawal, you are a calming influence. When I was losing my mind, I am forever indebted. Yeah, Kristen, I'm sure I told you that it's not unusual, but that the good news was Xanax is shorter. It's a shorter misery than things like Klonopin and Ativan, which can go on for quite some time. And unfortunately, that's what Jordan Peterson is dealing with. But thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. What about AB blood type? Does not seem to be at a special risk. But AB, people with AB have all kinds of other unique characteristics. I got to tell you, every time somebody has sort of unusual insights or intuitions or sees auras, they're always AB, not always, but often AB blood type. It's kind of weird. Jordan Peterson is dealing with diabetes hose. Man, dude, you cannot get off your negativity, can you? I'm tempted to block you, my friend, but I would like you just to join the group and not be such a disturbance. Is elemental zinc just like normal zinc off Amazon? Yes. It usually will say it right on the back of the bottle. So, get infected from asymptomatic people? Yes, you can. That seems to be a major means of transmission right now. In fact, that plane study I was telling you about, all 6 cases were asymptomatic carriers. I did let Gina Grad know and Adam know, Chris, that asthma is off the table, as are other cancers. So when Brian was quick to point out that, Adam was a smoker, I had prostate cancer, he's got a tumor, that we're all at risk for COVID. We are not. We're not, it turns out. None of us are, actually. Well, I'm probably the closest because I'm getting near the age group where it starts to make a difference. What does quercetin do? It gets the zinc into the cells, essentially. That's a cofactor. Would COVID vaccine affect an 80-year-old with diabetes? Bob, the COVID vaccine will be given to 80-year-olds first. It's going to be healthcare provider and the elderly. They're going to get it first. So it's going to be, once they have it properly screened for side effects and things.
They want it.
If you want it, they certainly. I mean, I think nursing homes are going to be using it without exception. So, okay, I'm about done. Unless there's other things you guys want to get into here. Yeah, COVID Island is right down the road here. I actually want to go over there and see what's going on. People all cramped into one spot.
Oh no,
You don't want that. Oh yes, I do.
No, you're not sleeping with me.
I thought it was so funny when she called it COVID
That's
Island.
my name, COVID Island.
Um,
I'll show the picture again.
Now, Kristen, you to say that you've never been the same, I think you're talking about more the panic part of what you got into. You should be able to manage that. Yeah, and you should be able to be okay. This far out after that Xanax withdrawal. I know you were traumatized by it, and if that trauma stays with you, you ought to have that treated. So think about that.
So Tuesday.
Okay, we're gonna.
Tuesday we have.
So we're gonna take tomorrow off. We're gonna be back on Tuesday. Oh,
We can do it tomorrow.
oh, we'll do a thing
I'm all
then.
set up.
Okay, we'll do a thing tomorrow.
Earlier, but Kelly Victory is coming on Tuesday.
Okay, Kelly Victor on Tuesday. Dr. Kelly Victory, you guys remember her? She's very interesting. She's very opinionated.
Well,
But it's good. I like that. I like people with opinions.
And then we have Dr. Yo, And then, but
And then
Wednesday
Dr. Yo
we're
on
doing
Thursday.
an Ask Dr. Drew.
Okay, Wednesday we'll take
We'll
calls.
be taking calls. I don't know if we're gonna have a guest or not, but people like to just take, we might just, maybe Tyrus will be on. And then Thursday we have Dr. Yo and the patients.
Yeah. Yakub, you're talking about the speed with which the vaccines have been brought out. And they have done things concurrently that they normally do sequentially. That's why it's being rolled out so quickly. And they are pushing. They're pushing it. Yes, Anthony, I am. And Susan looked down at that rock and went, "Oh my God, you're not going over to COVID Island." And I just thought it was the funniest thing.
He was all antsy.
I still want to go over there. I don't know why.
You can go. There it is. COVID Island. Everybody's having fun out there. It's a beautiful day.
Okay, I'm
Lots
trying to
of
follow
color.
you guys. Was that a picture of China Cove? No. No, it was not.
Treasure.
Thank you,
It's
Christopher, for getting that
Treasure
hydrolate.
Cove.
Yeah, it used to be called Treasure Island. Way back when I was a kid running around here. I don't know what it is. At 50 minutes, I sneeze every...
Oh my God, it's 5:50. It's 5:09. You're 20 minutes late on your sneeze.
Oh, so it's in an hour?
No, you usually sneeze
Is it 40, right? Usually at 40.
4:50.
Isn't that weird? Well, we started late. We didn't start at 4 o'clock. That's very, very, very weird. I have no idea what that is.
Oh my God. It's like when
Thank
the
you,
dog
Carl.
comes in and says, it's time to come downstairs now.
Well, somebody's asking a question about long-term effects. Long-term effects, you really don't know until the whole thing is rolled out to large numbers of people. I mean, let's be fair. And if you have worries about that, take a vaccine that's like a protein, attenuated virus or a manufactured protein, something like that. The DNA and the RNA vaccines are a new deal, and I can understand people wanting to wait on that. I really do. I get that. But this is an emergency. We got to get our lives back. We got to get this under control. And they're behaving like it's an emergency. And let's all do that. Personally, I think let's allow the scientists to do their work and trust them when they roll it out. Cindy Lou, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're in Half Moon Bay. That's beautiful. Half Moon Bay kind of looks like this COVID island. Excuse me. No, I'm hiccuping and sneezing.
So I'm going to play Chad and, what's his name?
Well, first of all, do you guys hear Susan when she talks? Because this is a new microphone for us. I want to make
No,
sure
it's
you...
only one-sided, so you have to repeat me.
Why did I move it over?
No, it's
No? Okay. How to deal with anti-maskers? Don't. They'll get sick, and that'll be that. Or they'll, and the rest of us will have masks, and we won't get anything from them. So I understand it's better. Both people have masks, but keep your distance, wear your mask. You'll be fine around those people. COVID Island is in California, Stephen. It's near Laguna. Okay. Did swine flu really hurt people long term? The fool's eye mind today, I had the swine flu, and I was not right for 2 years. It was horrible. And Susan watched me go through it, and at the end said, that was excessive. There's something wrong with you. Go see a doctor. And that's when my prostate cancer was diagnosed. Even though I don't think it had anything to do with how sick I was. I think I was just H1N1. It is big time. You should wear a mask. You should. Again, how do I feel about going to the gym, Tyler? I think we should have gyms open again. I think they should limit the numbers of people in the gym, and people should be required to wear masks in the gym. I did work out in a gym not that long ago that was open, and there were about 6 people in there. Some people were not wearing the mask, and that kind of bugged me. Yeah, Natalie, swine flu felt worse than pneumonia. It felt like a cytokine storm. Jim, I get sick a lot. I have gotten sick a lot.
Not this year.
Not this year, that's true. Okay. Anything else, Susan, before we... How long have I been going here? About an hour? An hour?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Josette, just wear your mask in the gym. That's all. Would a very low short-term prednisone dose affect the immune system enough to take extra precautions? I would say no. In fact, they're showing that the steroids are very, very beneficial. Again, how much and which one and when is somewhat unclear, but steroids, I wouldn't worry about that. CD Wisdom, I was in Las Vegas. How long was that? A month ago? A month ago we were there, and 6 weeks ago maybe, or we were quickly there, and yeah, it was good. It's part of our world tour that we took. How long was that? A month ago? Okay. What kind of mask? I like the cloth, thick cloth, double cloth. Dozens of British children who developed narcolepsy as a result of swine flu could be compensated after High Court rejected a government appeal to withhold payments. So kids got narcolepsy from swine flu. Okay, well that's again these viruses that are very robust. You're gonna understand your lymphatic system and your brain come from the same developmental tissue, and so things that infect one often infect the other. Look at HIV and AIDS, right? People get knockout of their immune system, and they can get dementias too. So it's not surprising that people have neurological symptoms after a bad virus. Livmar, I was on the radio in 1983 and stayed there until recently. Bipolar depression, any hints? Make sure you're on a mood stabilizer. Do not forego the mood stabilizer. Make sure you're on one, even though you're not high, you're not manic, you're depressed. Mood stabilizers can really help bipolar depressions. Okay. Yes, I'm from California originally, Lisa. And do I have patients with healthy anxiety? Josh, healthy anxiety are people with OCD. I was talking with a friend last night we were talking about how OCD can be used to your advantage, but anxiety can be a burden if it's unregulated. So you have to make sure you're connected to your feeling state so that it doesn't become a source of just regenerative anxiety. The Fool's Eye Mind, Depakote is a good mood stabilizer. Yes. Yes. How long before drinking 750 cc a day, stopping cold turkey? Dangerous? Usually about 4 hours, Ashlyn. If you're drinking essentially a fifth a day, you stop, you're going to be sick. So you need to talk to a doctor about it before you do stop. Thank you, Dustin. You saw me sneezing. I reacted to something here allergically. Does quercetin need to be taken with fat to be absorbed properly? Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, I'm going to need to get outside is what I need to do. Thank you, Anthony, for the happy birthday. What do I think of human growth hormone, Jeff? I worry about it causing carpal tunnel. I worry about it closing. You have cranial nerves that come out of your skull, and they innervate and cause and are the sensory source for your face. And you can get a narrowing of the canals those nerves go through and cause really just unpleasant neurological problems. I worry about that. Okay, what do I think of George Latkoff? What only 5% access or conscious time? Okay, this whole controversy of how we make decisions, just know that it's not the way it feels. That our brain does a lot of work that we're not aware of, anticipating, getting us to the point where we make a decision. And the more tuned in you are to that process, which is hard to kind of create awareness on, it's usually bodily based, motivationally. There's motivational input into it. You have to. It's a lot to be able to understand, to be able to have insight into how your mind makes decisions and works. Great, Patricia. Well done. Well done. That you stopped the fifth a day. I have anxiety spikes at 125 micrograms of levothyroxine. You better talk to your doctor about that very seriously, because that is not okay. You may just be on too much. Okay, I'm going to wrap it all up. Thank you all for being here. Susan, anything else before we do so? Do you want to play anything?
Say hi to the Twitchies.
She's on there talking to Twitch. We're going to play a video. Is this going to be of the Fox 11 interview or just their Rager?
Just their piece.
So this is Chad Goes Deep. I was on their podcast. These guys are our favorite here in Southern California. They did you go look at their website. They went out and gave masks away everybody at Huntington Beach, and people tried to beat them up. Like, who do you think you are? They're just, hey man, we're just giving masks away. Best health messaging we have in California. It shows you how silly it is not to wear a mask, as opposed to the government forcing you to wear a mask. That people don't like. But they also had this piece you're about to see is about not doing ragers, not doing house parties, and how silly that is and how silly they are. So here they go.
They are silly. Wait, I gotta find it.
Oh, she hasn't found it yet.
Yeah, I had to cue it up. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's hope it comes through loud and clear, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, let us know that you heard this.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. And yeah, we'll be here tomorrow around this time.
Come on! There we go, baby! Yeah!
Because the HOA's already calling.
Who's calling?
The HOA.
HOA, is that another DJ?
I'm the nice guy, so you have to leave because I'm gonna call the cops.
Comedy duo Chad Goes another video that's going viral. Their latest stunt is a response to Los Angeles shutting down house parties due to COVID-19. Chad Kroeger and JT Parr's solution, they bring the party to the people. We welcome them back, Kroeger, JT Parr. Great to see you guys.
What up, dudes? Good to see you again.
Maximally stoked, gentlemen.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
You are, of course, Dr. Drew's all-time favorite guest, and so for his birthday, we are bringing you guys back as a present today. Chad, let's start with you. What was the main point of this video, and what did you find when you were out on the streets?
Well, you know, we felt that the perfect storm was brewing. You know, parties were shut down. It was a Friday, it was hot, and most of all, Nickelback's new album was just coming out. And so we knew that people had to let loose, they had to rage, but we wanted to prevent a second spike, so we put some speakers in my truck and brought the rage to them so they could safely let loose on the balcony. And it was good, yeah. We learned, though, that I guess, you know, as much as we try to raise stoke, it's really hard to raise stoke for some people, and like I said, we tried as hard as we could. We played Nickelback, so, you know, some people, they just don't want to let loose.
That's trying very hard.
Yeah.
And JT, I appreciated that you were practicing collective effervescence and the reference to Emile Durkheim. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I picked up that phrase from the sociologist Ashley Mears, and it's a vital part of societal connective tissue. So it was a big-time ref that I got to deploy at an optimal moment. Thank you for noticing, Dr. Drew.
And speaking of optimal, one of the reasons I like these guys, aside from the fact they're clever, their health messaging has been the best in California, by far. Look, check out their mask video.
Well, I mean, it does bring the collective tish together. Somebody whose health messaging you often criticize, Dr. Drew, is LA Mayor Eric Garcetti. And they actually showed up at his house. Take a look.
We want to thank you for protecting us from Corona and making parties safe.
As a reward for what you've done for us, we've decided that we're gonna bring the party to you, dude. Strider, will you put on Rockstar by Nickelback? Yeah.
Cause we all just wanna be big rock stars and live in hilltop houses driving 15 cars. The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. Well, I'll stay skinny cause we just won't eat it.
I mean, I'm surprised there wasn't just a rush of people that were coming to you.
Well,
JT, what
running
was,
towards the Nickelback, Alex.
What was that? I mean,
towards the Nickelback songs.
Nickelback was unbelievable. No word from Mayor Garcetti. What was that experience like there, JT?
I mean, I was a little surprised he didn't respond because typically well-orchestrated choreography gets a response every time. And especially when my boy A-Bomb put together that fire mix on, no, because that's a different version of Rockstar. He put it to an EDM beat, which was like a stroke of genius. You know, I think Garcetti's probably busy, but we're going to dance in front of his house once a week, so we'll get him at some point.
Hey, Chad, how's your buddy Callan who had the COVID?
Oh, dude, he actually, I'm super excited to announce that he bit into a double-double last week, and he could taste it.
Good.
He got animal style, too, so it was like a full blast, so he's recovered. What up, Kellen?
All right, so we've seen you guys before. You went viral and first got our attention when you were handing out free masks that nobody seemed to really take or care about in Orange County recently. Big weekend, a lot of people heading to your favorite spot, the beach, JT. What's your advice to everybody as they go out thinking about going to the beach, thinking about dancing, thinking about hanging out this Labor Day weekend?
Yeah, if you're trying to, you know, get together with friends, I think keep it outdoors, stay at distance, you know, don't hug or kiss your dog. Just keep some space, no matter how pumped you get.
Well, there's no evidence that you're going to get coronavirus from kissing your dog.
No, your dog meaning your homie, meaning your bro, meaning like A-Bomb or Chad.
And Chad, I know what you surf over 1,000 steps or Salt Creek, and some of these beaches have sort of a narrow approach getting down to where you can shred. Are you wearing a mask on your way down?
Yeah, I rock a mask on my way down, and actually, I've been for people who don't know, I've been using my surfboard. Just grab a 6-foot surfboard and just keep it ahead.
I'm sure they like
and
that.
that maintains
on
the distance.
They
And
like
so
that on the
you
stairs.
guys have a great podcast. Recently, you had Dr. Drew as a guest on your podcast, which people can download. Today is Dr. Drew's birthday. I know
Happy
you may want to
birthday,
teach him a
Dr.
great
Drew.
dance
guys.
move.
Happy birthday.
But what's your birthday message, each of you, first JT, then Chad, for Dr. Drew? Or as you call him, Dr. Yoked.
Dr. Yoke, Dr. Drew, I honestly want to say thank you for all that you've done over the years. You really helped me with my intimacy issues and brought me to a place where I was more comfortable being vulnerable.
Thank you, JT.
Chad?
And Dr. Drew, I just want to say thank you as well. Keep up the great work. I consider you a mentor now. I love you, and yeah, you're the best.
Love you too,
Happy
Chad.
birthday.
And I don't know what Alex got his hands on for my birthday, but there are pictures of me that you would think it was a 14-year-old Chad. So my inner Chad is alive and well.
And they both apparently are very inspired by Dr. Drew's arms. That's the reference to Dr. Yoked as well. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here.
I can tell you're ripped too, Alex.
He is. He's ripped too.
Oh yeah.
He's watching his diet. You guys be proud.
Okay. See more of their videos. Check out their website, YouTube channel. Just search for Chad Goes Deep. They're all over the place. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a great weekend. We'll be right back to wrap things up.
Thank you.
Right after this.